Viewer discretion is advised. The SCP's purported purpose is to secure, contain, and protect. Nobody knows their other purpose. They, along with so many other groups of interest, are in the business of the acquisition of power. It is that universal pursuit that has brought us this far and to the brink of destruction, if an anomaly does not end the world as we know it. It has been said that on a long enough time frame, the probability of survival falls to zero. Time, perhaps the last frontier, not soared like the race of nations to discover the secrets of the atom. Another more clandestine arms race is currently underway. It is the race to acquire and master the use of anomalous objects. And for one ambitious Foundation scientist will stop at nothing to win this race. For somewhere in an undisclosed location, nestled in a secret sector in the SCP Foundation, in a Class 4 containment vault, rests an anomalous object. To date, the item has shown no activity to warrant anything other than standard security procedures to prevent unauthorized access. It has been given the Safe Class by the Foundation. Safe Class SCPs are anomalies that are easily and safely contained. This is often due to the fact that the Foundation has researched the SCP well enough that containment does not require significant resources, or that the anomalies require a specific conscious activation or trigger. Classifying an SCP as safe, however, does not mean that handling or activating it does not pose a threat. And this is definitely true of SCP-728. I had hoped that our paths might have crossed again sooner. Unfortunately, it could not have been helped. Please accept my most humble and sincere apologies and gratitude that you have returned in order to learn more of the classified files of the SCP Foundation, despite my warning. Good. For tonight, I will reveal to you an anomaly that has been used by a certain SCP Foundation doctor in order to perform some of the most unethical experiments ever performed by the Foundation. Join me as we explore the anomaly known as the Forever Room. The Forever Room is actually a standard shipping container. Its spatial dimensions are 12.9 meters by 2.44 meters by 2.9 meters. When the doors are closed, the interior space experiences the flow of time differently from the outside world. This difference is neither consistent nor predictable, with the flow of time capable of both speeding up and slowing down, and in some cases, apparently reversing. It is not known how this anomalous item was brought to the attention of the Foundation. However, we may assume that at some point items were put inside for shipment, but the state of said items on arrival did not reflect the state of which they were first sent out. The interior space is consistent with that of a standard shipping container, with the exception that it is constantly at a comfortable temperature and light level for human occupation, despite no methods of heat regulation or lighting being present. The exterior is painted red and shows some signs of weathering. Markings and numbers on the exterior are consistent with the system used by. However, no such designation has ever been assigned to one of their containers. Analysis of the material used in constructing the container has found it to be made from terrestrial metals, though not in any combination usually associated with the construction of shipping containers. SCP-728 is as vulnerable to damage as any object made from. However, perforating the container causes the primary effect to no longer function. Any damage inflicted upon SCP-728 appears to undo itself after a random amount of time. possibly as a side effect of SCP-728's ability. Any equipment which could be used to record the flow of time, such as stopwatches, will function normally within the container. However, upon opening the doors, such devices will suffer a catastrophic failure and completely cease to function, with all data being erased. This extends to all data recorded while the doors are closed, and so far no medium has been found which can resist this effect, save for pen and paper. For this reason, the only reliable method to record the passage of time within SCP-728 is through the use of a human observer. The good doctor utilizes a disposable for this purpose. Subject D-7466 is selected. I will not reveal the nature of the circumstances that led her here, but she believes that if she can last 30 days in the Foundation custody, she will be released. Unfortunately, time is not on her side. The Foundation doctor devised an experiment in which the subject will be placed inside SCP-728 with a time recording device. There she will remain for a time until the door to the shipping container is opened. She is instructed to check with the time ever so often so that when the door opens, she'll be able to relay the time spent to the researchers before the device malfunctions, as well as any other notes she may have. She willingly goes into the container with a chair, pen, notebook, the recording device, and a bucket. At this point, she is not aware of details surrounding SCP-728. The door is closed with her inside. The doctor leading the experiment allows 5 minutes to pass before the door is opened once again. When asked how long she spent in SCP-728, she informs them that it was over 2 hours on her end. Intrigued, the doctor locks her inside again. As she begins to protest, the door closes, and the sounds of her protest are silenced. This time, the doctor allows an hour to pass before the door opens, and when it does, she is still standing in the same spot as when the door first shut, and she appears to be in the midst of her protest before the door was ever shut. The good doctor neglected to place a new recording device, but it is clear from her perspective that she hasn't been inside for long, and she confirms it by reporting that a mere moment has passed. Our researcher, even more intrigued, decides to perform yet another experiment. This time, as they put in a new recording device, the subject is now forced into the forever room. The door closes once again. An hour elapses, and then the door is open. What is found inside can only be described as the mummified corpse of the subject. The body was found in a sitting position against the rear wall of SCP-728. Tests dated the body as approximately years old. The subject's hands were severely damaged, with multiple fractures and lacerations. The subject's right leg was broken. An organic compound was found on the doors of SCP-728, which was identified as Dr. is astounded by the test results. The container is quickly cleaned and another test subject is produced, this time D-9557. Notoriously known to be uncooperative in the Foundation, actually scheduled for termination for non-compliance. He is forced inside at gunpoint. Another hour passes. But this time, When they open the door, the interior of the shipping container is completely void. Testing was suspended for that day. A new experiment with a fresh subject is devised. This time, the subject is D-9558. We'll go in with the aforementioned objects, and this time, with food to last for 3 days. This hardened test subject realizes he may be in there for a while and steels himself for the ordeal. He is locked in the container for a total of 66 hours. But, to the surprise of the researchers, when the door is opened, the subject is adamant that no time has passed at all, and that they just closed the door. None of the food has been touched, and the bucket is empty. The latest test result has intrigued the doctor to no end. But what would happen if you locked multiple subjects at the same time? D-9558 is used again, along with D-8627 and D-4513. All of them violent offenders, but with a track record of cooperative behavior. Each are nearing the end of their 30 days with the Foundation. The subjects are willingly interred in SCP-728, with enough rations to last all 3 men a total of 5 years, as well as a supply of notebooks and pens. The subjects were instructed to keep a record of their experiences while inside. When the container was opened, all 3 were found dead. Subjects D-9558 and D-4513 had both suffered severe beatings and apparently died from their injuries. Evidence suggests that their bodies had been disemboweled and subject to acts of... Subject D-8627 had died from disembowelment, apparently self-inflicted. The logs were apparently kept as specified for years, before slowly degrading into unintelligible ranting. Similar writings were found on the walls of SCP-728, written in the blood and the feces of all 3 subjects, although fingerprinting identified that D-8627 was the only writer. Analysis of the feces found that in all 3 cases, it was most likely taken from... The Forever Room is still in the possession of the Foundation. This is not the only anomaly that has time-warping qualities. Our good doctor's intrigue, along with the site researchers, only grows. It is clear that the Foundation would like nothing better than to master time itself. A new experiment must be devised. What if they put a subject inside that is impervious to the ravages of time, or even immortal? For it, they will need the approval of the higher-ups. One of the stated goals of the Foundation is to protect. But are these experiments really for the greater good? Or is it at best morbid curiosity? I leave that for you to decide.